everybody, it's Gypsy and welcome to On the Edge of Appalachia. I'm getting so tired of doing my gardening videos indoors. I am. It's supposed to clear up this afternoon, so hopefully anything further that I record today is outside. Anyways, I just had like a great weekend and a nice evening last night with my son and daughter-in-law. Well, this weekend, you know, it was, I was vending at the flea market and it was in the 70s on Saturday. Here in Northeast Ohio, at this time of year, you get the slightest nice day and everybody's outside here. So we get cabin fever, I would say in January. We're like, all right, enough of this. We still have a long ways to go. So everybody came out on Saturday to the flea market. It was wonderful. Yesterday wasn't too bad, but it was quieter because it was raining and a little cooler. So this morning I wake up at 6:30 and the temperature's already dropping. The high, 55 today. We already hit it long before I woke up at 6:30. So now, I don't even know what time it is. What is it? Oh, it's 9:30. It's like in the 40s, and it's raining, and it's gloomy. Ugh. The rain's supposed to stop by this afternoon. So I'm going to get out there because the peas must be planted, like now. So I have to finish that trellis and finish preparing the soil. And I gotta finish getting that fence up around the rest of the garden where I extended it because, oh Lord, those chickens, I love them, but anyway, so I have to take care of that. But here is an issue. I'm telling you guys, this is the weirdest thing. You know my wild blackberries, I showed you how I have them trellised. I have two huge limbs from trees planted in the ground, and then I trellised, I did a grid of jute. And last year they stayed up there very, very nice. Now here's the strange part. This year, every time I trellis them, my jute disappears. I have it tied, wrapped around, like back and forth, up and down, so my berries have nice support. And I told you the other day, I re-trellised them. I thought at first, maybe my son had to remove the jute from the support for some reason. So I re-trellised it the other day. Thought nothing of it. This was Friday. Last night, I get home from the flea market and I go out to check on the garden and the jute is missing and my berries are flopped over. I'm like, what is going on? Well, while I'm looking at them, I hear from the trees, that angry noise that either squirrels or chipmunks make. I think those little stinkers are bringing them down. So it's already time to start fortressing the yard against pests. They must be making nests or something. Maybe it's a bird. Maybe it's the birds. I don't know. Using it for nests. But here's the weird thing. Just down that row, my red raspberries, I have trellis basically the same way. Now, I do have them longer because those just red raspberries grow like crazy. So the trellis is longer, it's bigger, it has 3 supports with the rope going through there. They've not touched that. Of course, I haven't been back there this morning. Anyways, it's a weird thing. They're stealing my jute. It's funny. But anyways, what I really wanted to tell you guys is my son and daughter-in-law, they really want to grow corn. Now, although we have a large property, we are limited by the woods surrounding us. So we're trying to figure out how we're going to place this. And, the logistics, because, all right, we want enough corn for all 4 of us. We need corn for me to put up, especially my cream corn. It is very popular because I make a damn good cream corn. I do. So anyways, if we just use the last of it, maybe I don't know, a month ago. Yes, and for anybody who has anything to say about this, I do things the way my ancestors did, you know, like my great-grandmothers and before them. And things have been just fine. Yeah, they'd be great. You just gotta know what you're doing. Anyways, so we have that, and then, okay, well, enough for me to sell, but I don't know how we're going to manage that one, because me and corn sells like crazy here. And, you know, a lot of, I mean, in this area, it's like the most popular crop to grow. I have never done it. Now, all of my memories of growing corn are from when I was a little girl. Okay, so the lovely couple that you saw in my intro, those are my grandparents. And they had a farm, and my cousin has it now. And I remember when I was a little girl, my grandpa, he had a huge field of corn to the left. That was for the family. On the right, he had a huge field of feed corn for all the animals. Okay, so I used to help my grandpa with farm chores. And I remember, you know, going in the cornfield and following behind him. And when I was a little girl, my grandfather, he looked huge to me. I remember following, looking up at him. And then you had these huge stalks of corn on each side. And, you know, I was a child. And so it was all like, wow, like wondrous to me. And I remember we'd go and pick the corn, then we'd bring it back to the house and we'd shuck it. And then my grandma, she would, you know, put the corn, hold it up like this, take her good knife, really fast, like a ninja, and she'd saute it in the pan, salt and pepper. Oh my God, it was so good. I mean, it immediately went from the field to the kitchen to our plate, and oh my God, was it good. Oh, but those are the memories I have. So when my son and daughter-in-law and I were talking about this, I said, I think I remember maybe 5-6 ears of corn per stalk. But then I'm thinking this morning, all right, you're thinking back 55 years. You were a little girl, things seemed bigger then. So I'm thinking maybe I was wrong. Because as an adult, I've never grown corn myself. And I looked it up. 1 to 2 ears. I'm like, how are we going to do this? Because the spot we have right now is in front of my berries, which I'm afraid will block the sun from the berries. So it's like, I'm not sure how we're going to do this. We're trying to figure out the logistics, but we're going to do that. Anybody who has grown corn and you have advice for me, please put it in the comments below. Now, here's a memory I have as a teenager. My parents, now we lived in a suburb of Cleveland, that's where I grew up, and all the yards were like a 1/4 acre. You know, you barely get your toe in there. So we had a garden behind the garage. And my parents one year decided they wanted to grow corn, and I think they did 1 row of corn. No corn, got no corn. I guess my dad didn't do too much work outside of the farm when he was a kid. Anyways, my dad called my grandpap, and my grandpap goes, you need a lot bigger space and more corn growing. It, you know, needs to pollinate and stuff, and you need, you know, I don't think a 1/4 acre of the house, the garage weren't there, would have been enough. I don't know. But anyways, I had that memory. So concerned about that. Now, in this yard, we have the space, but, you know, it's the, you know, the woods and all that. So if you have any advice, now here's another thing. I have always wanted to try the 3 sisters planting method that the Native Americans use and used. I've read about that and I've always found it fascinating. Not only is it a good way, you know, you've got the soil, I mean, it's almost like all 3 plants are feeding each other because they all use different nutrients and give back different nutrients to the soil. I don't know how they ever figured this out, because this is like thousands of years old, this method. I just think it's so cool. Because, all right, you got your stalk of corn, And then you plant beans and squash. I think they usually do pumpkin, but it could be, I think it could be any squash. It doesn't matter because I have all kinds of squash seeds. But my most important squash to me is my sugar pie pumpkins. Those are the most important. And I figure it also, besides just feeding each other, the pumpkins and beans are going to trellis around the stalks. Oh, that is so cool. I've always wanted to do this. So I think I'm going to give that a try. I sent my son and daughter-in-law an article about it, so we're going to do some research on it before we plant. But yeah, that would be amazing. It would. And it would save me some space because and then I got this idea in my, I've got gourds I got to plant, and then I've got, melons and other squash, and I want to plant loofah gourds. Because I'm always thinking how to earn money. So I figure, well, if I plant loofah gourds, let them set it over the winter after they've grown, then I could open them up and there's the sponge and I can prepare those and I can sell those in my booth. That's what I'm always thinking. So anyways, that's what I'm thinking with corn. And again, the memories I have of growing corn, and I remember a lot of corn, are 50, 55 years old. That was a long time ago. And I was always just, to me, the farm was like a fantasy land. It was a playground to me. I loved it. That was my favorite place to be, especially in the, in the summer. But those memories are warped by time and looking at it through a child's eyes. So, any advice, please let me know. My son and daughter-in-law are really into this. They really want to do it. I could always buy corn too, because, all the farmers around here grow it. So I would really love advice. And yeah, so, it's just, I'm having already, March 31st? I'm already having that gardener's overwhelmed feeling. I have so much to do, both in the house and outside. And today, I'm going to order my Easter ham. My butcher that I use, it's an Amish butcher. They have 4 different types of ham available for Easter, and you have to place your order. And the one I want to try is, they have an Amish spiral ham. So I want to try that. And so it's like I'm thinking of Easter, and my son's birthday is the day after. That's if they're home, because they're truckers. You never know. So if you have truckers in your family, you never know when they're going to be home. Long haul truckers. You never know. There's no planning anything. So for Easter, I'm just getting a ham big enough for the whole family. And if they don't show up, there's leftovers. And, there's leftover ham is always a good thing. It's just like leftover turkey. Gotta have that. So anyways, that's my rant for this morning. And I would really, if you're experienced with corn, and I don't mean little bits of corn, like I know a lot of people are starting to grow it in pots, which I can't wrap my mind around, I guess, because of the way I grew up. I was like, how do you do corn in a pot? I don't get that. But I figure you get the 1 or 2 ears, but they must be miniature ears, I would think. But no, we want to do it in the ground. Do like a little cornfield, not big like my grandpap had, but big enough. So please, any advice will do. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. Blessed be, and make it a joyful one.